On my 16th birthday, I went out to the state police station and picked up my driver's license and promptly went over to my girlfriend's house and picked her up. And we went parking out at the Allentown Bethlehem Easton Airport. They had a little place you could park there, and all the teenagers would go there and neck with their girlfriends. And so that's what I was doing, and on the radio, I turned the radio on, and the song Monday, Monday, for the first time that I heard it, came on the radio while I was there at the airport with Nancy. I always noticed in the photography of the Mamas and the Papas that John Phillips, Papa John, was playing a Martin D28. Actually, Chris Martin came to me and said, "What about the Mamas and Papas?" He had seen a little documentary on I think, public TV about the Mamas and Papas, and saw that John Phillips had been playing a Martin D28. Of course, John Phillips had passed away, Mama Cass had passed away, Denny Doherty had passed away. Michelle Phillips was still very much alive. She was a bit of a television actress and star. I made a couple of phone calls, and I was pretty good at that. I could, in a fairly short amount of time, I could get right, cut to the chase. And of course, calling up and saying this is Martin Guitar Company was a pretty good calling card, a pretty good opening for a conversation. And before we knew it, I was on the phone with Michelle and telling her that we wanted to pay tribute to the Mamas and Papas, and what did she think about that? And she said, I think we can put something together. Interestingly enough, I think I was put in touch with Lou Adler. So Lou Adler was very famous. As a matter of fact, we were just talking about Paul Simon, but in one of Paul Simon's songs, he said, "I've been Lou Adler, been Barry Sadler, been Rolling Stone and Beatle till I'm blind." So Lou Adler made it into a Paul Simon song. So I was on the phone with Lou Adler, and he was management for the Mamas and Papas, and held a lot of the rights for the estate. And without too much trouble, we secured the signature that we needed to proceed with the project. And working directly with Michelle, but also with Mama Cass's daughter, and Denny Doherty's son, and John Phillips's son. So we had pretty much representation from everybody. Because there are 4 members of the group, we had to secure permission from all 4 families. And that makes it a little more complicated, but like I said, we had the blessing of Michelle, the last surviving member, and the ability to work with management and Lou Adler on securing the other signatures for the contract. So my idea was, because there wasn't any specific inlay associated with Mamas, Papas, or any specific logo, there was a really iconic photograph of the 4 of them. And I took that photograph and I separated their bodies just a little bit, so there was a little bit of space between them, and John was holding the guitar. And I created a pearl inlay silhouette, and really, it seemed to want to be here. I could have maybe tried to put it here above the bridge, but you don't want inlay into spruce if you can avoid that. So this seemed to be a good place for it in mother of pearl, and I really like this. Also, I secured the digital signatures of the 4 of them, and included it on kind of a really famous Henry Diltz photograph of the Mamas Papas on the inside label. And of course, Michelle Phillips, being the last surviving member of the group, signed the actual label. And so it's basically fashioned after John Phillips's D28. Whenever I could, especially in the format of a D28 where there's not a whole lot of extra ornamentation, I like to add special woods. So this has ivory bindings, a beautifully laced Adirondack spruce top, Madagascar rosewood in a style 28 guitar, ebony head plate. Otherwise, pretty straightforward D28 appointments, with the exception of the pearl rosette. Really as good a dreadnought as you'd ever want to have. Yeah, it's a great guitar, but it really has a sound. There's something magical about the Adirondack top with this wood combination. You know, it's almost like the top is resounding and then diving in and then like literally, you know, when you hear that. That's what I love about Martin dreadnoughts. I took the prototype out to the NAMM Show, and Michelle lived in California at the time, and she was arranging to come to the show for the introduction, and also other family members associated with the mamas and papas were also there. And we had a press conference. At the NAMM Show, they have a press conference day which precedes the opening of the show. And they gave us, about 20 minutes on stage. And there was a lot of press there, probably 30 or 40 photographers and press people. And I told the story of being at the airport with my girlfriend, and I actually described it as my first kiss. I think it might have been my second or third. But Michelle turned to me, and after I was done, she turned to me and she gave me a big wet kiss in front of the press. And she said, "You won't forget that one either." And I haven't forgotten that one. So huge honor to have done this and paid tribute to one of the great bands of the 1960s. That was my signature story. Tune in again for other signature stories about some of the iconic artists that we've had the pleasure of working with over the years.